This year, we celebrate 20 amazing years.
And we want to say thank you.
Because of you, we've become innovative, creative, and committed to providing the best customer service in the Bahamas.
Because of you,
we have given back to our community.
We are proud to serve our Bahamas with cable television, the nation's fastest broadband internet, and reliable phone service.
And that's all because of you.
Thank you for inspiring us,
motivating us,
and believing in us.
Thank you.
For 20 years!
Bamboo Town MP Renward Wells defends himself against claims of disloyalty. Environment Minister Kenred Dorset says smoke from the city dump isn't going away anytime soon. Women's Entrepreneurship Day to be celebrated for the first time in the Bahamas. Plus a Junkanoo rush out at Anatole Rogers in celebration of a new school bus. We've got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith and MB12 starts right now. Bamboo Town MP Renward Wells today suggested his loyalty should not be questioned and that there are hypocrites within the governing side of Parliament. This after he and Fort Charlotte MP Dr. Andre Rollins were criticized for leaving the Progressive Liberal Party and joining the opposition. And as for whether he wishes to offer himself as a candidate in Bamboo Town, Wells said he will run in that constituency once again and hopes his constituents would keep him. Kyle Joaquin reports.
It's been a few weeks since Andre Rollins and Renward Wells left the PLP to join the FNM, and since then many have questioned their loyalty to any political organization. But we spoke with Wells today, who said it is not his loyalty that should be called into question, but perhaps the loyalty of several others still sitting within the PLP.
I would say that persons ought to ask the question as to whether or not an individual is a hypocrite. Meaning that you're a Greek play actor, meaning the word originates from Greek plays where someone wore a mask. It wasn't who they really were, but they were pretending.
For Renward Wells, loyalty is an interesting topic, but not something that should come up when talking about him. We caught up with the Bamboo Town MP as he and opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis mingled with College of the Bahamas students and asked him about the backlash he and Dr. Rollins received for jumping ship. Wells said for him, it's not about loyalty, but questioned those he called hypocrites.
A person becomes a hypocrite when he said certain things and he keeps changing what it is he said. The Bahamian people have had an opportunity to be affiliated with me from 2004 when I called in on radio talk shows, when I was on radio talk shows, when I was in the Progressive Liberal Party, when I was a part of the National Progressive Institute, the think tank of the PLP, when I left the PLP and established a political party called the National Development Party, when I went back to the PLP. The thing that persons know about me is I have been consistent with the things I have said that I want to see the Bahamian people get. Never changed. And I believe that from having discussions with the leader of the FNM and the leadership, that they are interested seriously in reform. And for me, I have been loyal to the Bahamian people, and I will continue to do so.
Since 2012, Wells has been a part of the NDP, the PLP, and now the FNM. And in hearing what many within the PLP had to say about him, following his departure, Wells said he still has love for them. However, he said his ship has sailed and is of the firm belief that the nation deserves a new leader.
This nation desires new leadership, a new direction as to where we ought to be going as a people, and not just to talk it. We don't want people who just can sing it. We want people who can bring it.
There has been a lot of talk about the FNM being split on Wells and Rollins joining the party. So much so that one of the FNM's founding fathers, Maurice Moore, told attendees of a meeting in Grand Bahama last Saturday that those taking issues with Dr. Minnis should shape up or ship out. Some, like former State Minister for the Environment Fenton Nemore, called for Wells to explain the letter of intent signing. But despite that, Wells said from what he's seen, their welcome has been overwhelming.
I would say we got a rapturous welcome from the FNMs in Grand Bahama, not just the FNMs, I mean Bahamians in general. From the time we touched down at the airport in Grand Bahama, it was really, really positive. I think there was a certain sense of hope and optimism.
And when it comes to Renward Wells looking forward to 2017 or whenever the next general election is called, Wells said he will remain in Bamboo Town, that is, if his constituents decide to keep him.
I believe a man ought to stay where he got hired and allow those persons to make a decision as to whether or not they will keep him or fire him. You know, and so from my perspective, I've always said if Bamboo Town survives or whatever, however which way they cut it, that they can't move the land. You could change the name, you know, and so I will be running there. And I've always said that you can change lines, but you can't change minds.
And as for talks of other members of the PLP leaving to join the FNM, the opposition leader said,
One at a time, one at a time. Okay?
Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
It appears Jubilee Gardens residents will have to endure the smoke from the New Providence landfill for a while longer. Environment Minister Kenrick Dorsett confirmed to NB12 today that relief won't come overnight. Yesterday, irate residents told the media they've endured smoky conditions and respiratory illnesses from the dump for too many years and they want relief. The Environment Minister responded today saying the government is bringing in a company to assist, but relief won't be instant.
We have now engaged a scientific team who will come in so that we can move to the next stage of systematically ensuring that the gas is extracted from the landfill to mitigate against future fires. But as I continue to tell residents, including those who are in my constituency, because they are impacted too, we're a stone's throw away from the landfill, it's not going to be something that is corrected overnight. It will take some time and it will take considerable investment to do so.
Renew Bahamas, the company managing the landfill, has said a particular area of the dump is proving to be a challenge given its height and angle. Dorsett explained that there are simply too many factors playing against them in the fight.
There continues to be subsurface fires over the more than 100 acres of landfill that has been there for the past 40 years. The challenge is whenever the surface is disrupted and oxygen gets into that environment, it causes the combustion, and therefore some fires are lit. We also have the issue of arson, which is ongoing.
Depending on the direction of the wind, whenever the landfill is on fire, smoke billows as far as the airport. Dorsett said while he knows hundreds of families are impacted, the government is committed to bringing a resolution.
But the government is committed to that process, and so to the people of Jubilee Gardens, to those who do business on Gladstone Road, including Aquinas, a school, you know, we remain in contact with the Catholic Church because there are so many people who are impacted whenever we have fires at the landfill. But it's a 40-year problem that I know that we are committed to address once and for all.
A pedestrian was struck and killed by a car in the early hours of this morning. The traffic fatality took place on Fire Trail Road. ASP Harry Williams said the victim, a man, was en route to work and trying to cross the street when the incident occurred.
Sometime around 7:30 a.m. a traffic accident occurred on Fire Trail Road in the area inland project. A vehicle was traveling east along Fire Trail Road when a male was attempting to cross the street from the southern side to the northern side, and the accident occurred. Right now, unfortunately, that male has succumbed to the injuries received.
Traffic was briefly diverted this morning as the body lay covered in the road. Williams said the victim sustained injuries to the head and torso, while the driver of the car involved in the incident was left shaken up but otherwise uninjured. Williams said the driver is assisting police with their investigations, but he did not give any further details at the scene, explaining officers are still investigating the matter.
We are in the initial stage of the investigation at this time, and any information regarding the individual would be forward once we would contact the family members.
Williams appealed for pedestrians to use sidewalks and marked pedestrian crossings whenever possible, and for drivers to pay attention as they travel and look out for pedestrians. And police need the public's assistance in locating a man wanted for questioning in connection with an investigation into a string of housebreakings on New Providence. Police are searching for Fritz Richmond, aka American, of Gibbs Corner. Police say Richmond is known to frequent the West Street and Thompson Lane area. Anyone with any information on the whereabouts of Richmond, no matter how small or insignificant the tip may seem, to anonymously call police at 919 or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. In other news, former State Environment Minister Fenton Nemore is questioning whether a new rate reduction bond fee designed to pay off the Bahamas Electricity Corporation's massive debt will appear on customers' light bills as yet another charge.
The question is, will the BEC bill that you currently receive now move from being 2 components into 3? In other words, would there be a base rate, which currently is 10.95 cents, and would there be an additional rate for fuel? Or would there be that third component that they're now saying is a cost associated with their debt?
Nemore noted there are presently 2 components of the BEC bill, a fuel charge and the base rate, which covers all costs associated with BC. A rate reduction bond fee will be passed on to customers once BC transitions into Bahamas Power and Light. Nemore said government has to reduce the base rate so consumers do not have a further fee.
Currently, the base rate covers all of the administrative financing costs at BEC, which includes these sums that BEC owes. And so if they're adding a third component to the bill, then obviously that component would have to be taken out of the base rate so that the Bahamian people will not pay an additional cost.
You're watching the best in Bahamian news. There's more when NB12 returns.